We are just a handful of days away from the first of these contests in the Democratic primary, and Senator Bernie Sanders has been moving up in the polls both nationally and in some of the early states. So this is just about the perfect time to bring onto the show once again Nina Turner, National Co-Chair for the Bernie 2020 campaign. Nina, as always, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, John.
Now, before we get to the early states, you've been in one of the states that's going to be voting a little bit later on in North Carolina. What's going on in North Carolina?
Excitement. I mean, we were in Durham, Greensboro, and Charlotte. And I can tell you from Friday through Sunday, hundreds of people came out to hear about the message and the vision of Senator Sanders. So from housing for all to talking about civil rights then and now, to talking about the Green New Deal and climate chaos and our respective responsibilities in working to turn all that around. Folks in North Carolina are certainly feeling the burn and very excited about the senator, his candidacy, and our opportunities in 2020.
You know, I'm curious, right now, Bernie Sanders is one of a few candidates that can't be out campaigning. He's got to be in DC, he's got to be working on the impeachment, at least for the near future. So I'm assuming there's more pressure on high profile people like you in the campaign to sort of fill in. How does that affect the dynamics of the race that some people, Pete Buttigieg, he's out on the campaign trail, but Bernie Sanders, he has to rely on his inner circle to sort of hold things together.
That's right, John, and that's where the me, not me, us comes in. That mantra, that foundation is what we live by in the Sanders campaign. And so the beautiful thing is that we have all along been dispatching people like myself, other of the national co-chairs like Representative Ro Khanna, Mayor Carmen Cruz, Ben Cohen, and other, as you said, national surrogates and grassroots surrogates as well, all along the way in the campaign. So it's not as though we have to start something new. We've been doing that all along because we know that the grassroots in this movement that surrounds the senator is really the wind beneath his wings. So it does mean I may travel a little more often, if that is even possible. I have 3 suitcases packed at all times, John. Maybe now I need 4, but we are rolling strong. And as you laid out in North Carolina, for example, the senator was not there, but we were drawing hundreds of people to those events on weekend nights without the senator physically being there. What that means is that his movement is going to sustain him. And people like myself and others, we will complement all that the senator has been working for. So I am very excited to continue my journey across this country.
Sort of similarly, I saw that just a few days ago in Iowa City, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez had a crowd of about 800 that Senator Sanders called into, but she was there in person. I'm assuming she probably is having to take on a little bit more of the burden as well, at least until this impeachment inquiry is wrapped up.
Well, Phil Agnew was there as well. As you know, he gave a riveting speech that had people in tears and ended that speech with these hands as he had folks embrace one another, hold each other's hand, and relate to things that people go through on a regular basis. Michael Moore was there. So you're going to have a whole plethora of folks. As you know, in Iowa last week, we had Representative Jayapal, who has come out to endorse the senator. It was just absolutely a thing of beauty to have her there. As you know, she is the champion on Medicare for all in the House of Representatives. So it's going to be a lot of people, a lot of the senator's supporters, surrogates, both grassroots, because I don't want to lose sight, John, of the grassroots folks as well, who are champions in this campaign. I know we get caught up with the fancy titles, but there are people from all walks of life and all professions who are holding this campaign down on behalf of the senator.
Yeah. Now, as I alluded to in the intro, in both national and Iowa and New Hampshire, the polls, Bernie Sanders has been gaining. He has some fairly significant leads in Iowa, some of the most recent polls. At the same time, though, feel free to disagree. It feels to me like some of the powers that be in the Democratic Party, former people involved in the Hillary Clinton campaign back in 2016, they seem to feel a little bit more freed up, perhaps because he's been doing so on the polls, to launch a new set of attacks against Bernie Sanders. I've seen op-eds. Hillary Clinton had her big interview just a week ago. So from the inside in the campaign, how does this new set of attacks against Bernie Sanders, how is that influencing the way that you're approaching these first contests?
We're staying on the issues as you know and your viewers know, the senator, that's his thing. He does not policy, issues. So nothing changes just because the neoliberals or the establishment want to try to attack this campaign. We are on the move and they know it. The most important thing here is that we stay focused on the issues. That contrast of records is very important as the American people decide who will be the champion for their causes, who is committed to changing the material conditions of the workaday people from all backgrounds in this country. That right there is fair game. This other stuff, these other games that they're playing in terms of trying to malign the senator's supporters, trying to malign him on issues that don't matter, it's just not going to work. As we see, not only through the polling, the senator's favorability ratings are high. His very favorability ratings are high as well. People know him to be honest. They know him to be courageous. They know him to be consistent. And they know him to be the person who has said to Wall Street, I'm coming for your greed. Pharmaceutical industry, I'm coming for your greed. Fossil fuel industry, I'm coming for your greed. And he has also cautioned and encouraged, inspired the working class and barely middle class people of this country to believe that they deserve better than what they've gotten. So in short, John, we are going to keep our eyes on the prize, keep knocking on those doors, keep sending out those text messages, keep having conversations with people on the ground to drive out the vote and help people understand that their champion is Senator Sanders.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.